Hi everyone. Glad to be here. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Exactis. I've been with Exactis since the beginning in 2014. And I'm also a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed 26 years ago with a really rare form of leukemia called chronic myeloid leukemia. And at the time, I was given 3 to 5 years to live. However, thanks to my persistence and research, including a petition, I was able to get on a phase 1 clinical trial with the drug called imatinib or Gleevec, which is a targeted drug. That drug ultimately saved my life, and I'm still on it today, doing really well. And with that experience, that led me to obtain my bachelor's degree in molecular biology and a PhD in experimental medicine. So today, I'm very honored to be part of this podcast because we have a very special guest, Dr. Catalina Lopez-Correa. And Catalina is also a cancer survivor, and she's one of Canada's leading advocates for genomics. She's currently the Chief Scientific Officer at Genome Canada and has also held CSO and VP positions at Genome BC and Quebec. She holds a medical degree from Columbia, a master's degree in human genetics from France, a PhD in medical biosciences from Belgium, and a mini MBA from McGill University. Catalina, welcome, and thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Suzanne and Lester, for inviting me. I'm super excited to be here today.
That's great. So let me kick it off. We have a lot of questions around your career and also your cancer journey. So starting with your career, and I know this is a big question, but what was your journey to becoming the CSO at Genome Canada?
Yeah, big question, and like everything, it takes many like a journey, many steps to get to where I am today. As you mentioned, Susan, I initially studied medicine, but I always was driven by curiosity and interested more about the biology than the clinical aspects of medicine. And that led me to leave the country, leave Colombia, and do initially a master's and then a PhD in genetics. And after all these, many years in academia, for my first job, I decided I wanted to move into the private sector. So I went into a biotech company initially in the UK. And then after a couple of years with biotech companies in the UK, I got an opportunity to work with Decode Genetics, which is also a private sector biotech company, but based in Iceland, in Reykjavik. And they were one of the first to develop a biobank and start sequencing at a population level. At the time, they were initially microsatellites, but then, of course, after they were doing all the sequencing, that was a unique experience to go really into a population level. And then from there, I moved into the US to work with the company Eli Lilly on their pharmacogenetics and really get to see all corporate America and the big players in the pharmaceutical industry and early days of the clinical implementation in drug discovery and development of genomics. That was again very exciting. And we moved to immigrated to Canada in 2008 when I got the position with Genome Quebec initially. And that all led, I spent about 8 years at CSO, VP, Scientific Affairs at Genome Quebec, where I got to interact with many of your colleagues
Mm.
at the company. And then after that, I moved to BC, did work also with CSO. But during the pandemic, I got the opportunity from Genome Canada to lead the Canadian COVID Genomics Network. That was quite a unique experience of implementing genomics at a pan-Canadian level with that emergency we had with the pandemic, sequencing the virus. So that was a unique experience. And that led after that position evolved into the CSO position at Genome Canada. So again, a long journey, but I will say, even though many countries, many different companies, many sectors from the private to the non-for-profit, academic, and all that, at the end of the day, the conducting field of all that has been really genomics. And I will say the conducting is the DNA, conducting all these dots.